What is going on, everybody? My name is Conor. Welcome to a very special Hero or Zero.
It's not that special.
Would you stop? As always, I'm Joe, partner in crime, Mr. Sean. Me and Sean. Why is today's episode of Hero or Zero so special?
It's the 52nd one.
A whole year.
A whole year of Heroes or Zeros.
Yes, this is our year-long week. I suppose we had our 50 week like 2 weeks ago, so it feels like
it's a bit of an anticlimax.
Yeah,
but this is an important episode.
It is because anyone doesn't know if you've listened to this episode or show for any length of time.
Nearly every episode gets brought up.
Nightwing is my favourite character in comic books.
Inexplicably,
he's absolute dog shit, right? I love Little Dicky, right?
You do.
And I said at episode 1, I think it was. No, it was Tim Drake, which was episode 2.
Yeah,
or something.
I
think it was might have been 2. No, it was 3.
Jesus
but anyway, episode 3 was Tim Drake, and then I said if we ever get to episode 50, I'll do Nightwing. As a laugh, because I thought we'd only get to like episode 5.
And then we'd peter out.
We'd peter out. Unfortunately, it's gotten to the point now where I would have to do the episode.
Yeah.
And I put it off for another 2 weeks.
Give yourself 2 weeks to write it.
2 weeks to write it, and then eventually I said, right, fuck it, we may do it. So, episode 52, Hero Zero. The Hero Zero isn't really numbered, but it's kind of whatever you do.
Yeah.
This is the Nightwing special, Sean.
Okay, buckle in, everyone.
What do you know about Nightwing?
He used to be a Robin.
Yes.
Dick Grayson.
Little Dicky.
Now he's a better Batman. He's a nicer man than Batman is, and he hates Batman sometimes.
That's pretty good, yeah. As a character, I adore this character, so I'm putting it all out there. If people don't like him, they can shit all over me. I don't care.
Okay, but you heard him.
He's my favourite character. Don't say me things.
Leave Nightwing alone.
I'm going to start off, obviously, with his Robin origin.
Of course.
And then work up to Nightwing.
Great.
Well, we can call this episode Nightwing. It's fine. Dick Grayson. I was going to try and get out of it and just do like a Dick Grayson the Robin years. And then a Dick Grayson the Nightwing years. I think that you can't really do that. Dick Grayson. Nightwing, otherwise known as Richard John Grayson.
Oh, yes. Strong name.
Was first created in Detective Comics number 38, April 1940.
Right, so he's been around a while.
He's been around a very, very long time. He was created by one Bill Finger and Bob Kane.
Mostly Bill Finger.
And Jerry Robinson was the illustrator. So, this was all happening because Batman at the time was very dark.
Very dark. And he was a middle-aged man.
Not many kids were reading the old Batman.
No, sure, he was an old lad.
Because he was an old lad, and what happened was he used to go around and just go killing people, and he wasn't a very nice chap.
No.
So they said, how do we get the kids involved? Well, we give the psychopath a partner.
Yes, but not just any partner. A child.
A child of some kind that will get the kids in.
Yeah.
Right? So, to start off, everyone already knows Dick Grayson was an 8-year-old circus acrobat.
Yes.
The youngest of a family act called the Flying Graysons of the Haley Circus.
A happy family, I'm sure it'll all be grand.
I think that's the end of the report. Dick joined the act at a very young age, and having been trained in acrobatics from birth, he was basically an amazing performer and an amazing athlete.
So he just grew up flying on trapezes.
Well, your parents are like the best trapeze artists in the country. So he grew up with that, and he was trained from basically birth to be the most flippity floppity man in the room.
Basically all he ever knew.
Exactly. And so before one appearance in Gotham City, in which the Flying Graysons were the main attraction, they were asked to pose for a photo opportunity with Jack Drake, which is what we covered in Tim Drake.
Yes.
Tim Drake, who's the third Robin, was at that circus with his family.
I see.
That night. But that's completely off the record. But we seen it from one side,
and now we see it from the other.
Now we see it from the other side. So, why am I reading this? This is all very...
You know all this.
So, I'm just reading this and feel like, oh, I get it all right. But basically, they're at the circus, and everyone knows that there's a crime boss around the place, right?
Yeah.
Now, Sean, what is this man's name?
Is it Falcone?
Oh, no! Tony Zuko. Tony Zuko is a known crime syndicate boy.
Head honcho.
And he comes around to everyone in the circus and he's like, I need to get paid for some protection money. I won't smash this place up if you just give me a little off the top of what you're making here.
Of course. And they said, yeah, no bother.
They said, absolutely have the child. So they gave him to little Dickie. No, they said, the owner of the circus said that no. He refused straight out. And Tony Zuko was like, okay, you'll get what's coming for you. You'll get it. And he walked off. And what happened was that he walked off and Dick seen all this, and he's seen you're gonna. I think Tony Zuko even like when he's walking off, you can see him. He takes out a knife, or there's some sort of situation where he's clearly up to something.
He's clearly going to
do something to somebody,
cause someone's death.
And Dick sees all this, and obviously he's only 8 or 9, so he doesn't put it together.
He's a fucking idiot.
He's a fucking dickhead, right? You know what? I've turned on him now, actually. No, he's a child, right? And so he sees him ask for protection, but he sees Tony Zuko walk off, and he thinks nothing of it. So he goes off with his parents, and they get ready for their act. They're up in the trapeze, and the story goes is that Tony Zuko weakened the wire of one of the trapeze things,
so that as it was being used, it was getting weaker and weaker
and thinner. And then, just as Dick was in the performance, Dick's mother would swing across and collect him,
right? And
then he would swing back. So like the three of them would be going simultaneously. She swings up, and she gets his father, and they're both swinging back to get him, and the wire snaps.
Jesus.
And the famous thing about the Graysons, the Flying Graysons, is they were the only trapeze artists in the whole country that had no net. Because they were so talented, that was their big selling point.
Yeah.
The level of danger was even higher.
But
because they were so skilled.
So if they had a net, they would have lived.
They would have lived, but the fact was they didn't have a net. And so Dick seen his parents die
fall in front of him, surrounded by 500 people in this tent. Jeez.
In a circus.
Yeah.
And they just land with a thud, and he's just left up there on the podium.
And presumably his mother or father had their hands out to him.
Yes, to get him.
Classic.
Classic stuff, right?
Classic way to die.
That would lead anyone to just be so positive.
Wouldn't it just?
He blames himself,
of course,
for the murder because he thinks he should have warned his parents.
He should have said, I saw him with a knife.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Or we could have stopped them. But I think that's natural.
Yeah.
That, like, if your parents pass away, everyone is kind of like, it's my fault somehow. Or, like, if someone you love passes away, like, the stages of grief at some stage, you're like, I could have done something.
Yeah.
Could have done something else. Something different. So, and he was, like, in direct contact with the murderer, so he's, like, even more so. If I had punched him then, it would have been fine, but he didn't know.
He just never got to the acceptance stage.
Batman, of course, Mr. Bruce Wayne, was in the crowd that night.
Yeah.
As the story goes. So he watched Dick's parents die, and it's seen that Batman, Bruce puts on the Batman costume, and he investigates it with Gordon, and there's a scene where Batman is standing beside Dick Grayson, like trying to just talking to the child.
Yeah.
It's like, you okay? Because if anyone knows something about dead parents, it's one Bruce Wayne.
It's Batman. He knows what he's about.
Yes.
And he's also like he's nice in that moment, isn't he? He's not a prick about it.
Oh no, like I think there's certain times where, especially how they work is because Batman needs to have like a caring moment.
Yeah, every so often.
Because he sees a lot of himself. Like he sees himself as Dick Grayson in that moment, and he's like, what would I have wanted if I was that age? And so Dick is then sent off to a load of boarding schools, and like he goes into a few orphanages until Bruce basically adopts him. But he adopts him as his ward instead of as his father, because I think the thing is he doesn't want to replace
his parents.
I don't ever want to replace your parents because you can't forget them.
Yeah.
Because I'm not
I remember my parents, and I don't want to cover your parents by saying I'm your father, so I'm your ward.
Yeah, I'm looking after you.
Yeah, which I think is also a nice little thing to do.
Yeah, it's a level of respect.
Yeah, and so Dick joins the Bruce Wayne, and he gets taken in by this rich guy. At start, he thinks this is great.
Yeah.
Then over the coming weeks, Sean, he's starting to think, I don't see Bruce, and I'm very, very bored.
Yeah, I'm in this big house. It's me, Bruce, and a butler.
And I never see Bruce. Bruce is never here.
Yeah.
During the day, he sleeps. And then during the night time, I never see him. What's he doing?
What's he up to?
So he grows a bit bored, and he decides, I'm going to go find Tony Zuko as a kid.
Right.
And he sneaks out one night, only to stumble into Batman.
No.
Who was also investigating Tony Zuko at the time, of course.
Convenient.
Because Bruce is like, the first thing he does is like, I'll find Tony Zuko.
Yeah.
This kid's parents died because of him. And he brings Bruce in a very strange, as you said, like moment of compassion, brings Dick immediately to the Batcave.
And it's like, this is what the story is.
This is who I am. This is what the story is. I'm Batman. I'm going to find Tony Zuko, and I'm going to stop him. And I don't know. It's never said straight away that he would join. But then Dick is like, I want to help. Like I want to like do something.
Yeah.
Because the two of them have seen how bad crime can be in Gotham, and they want to fight against it.
Yeah.
And so Batman offers him the chance. You can join, but it's like, I'm going to train you within an inch of your life, just so you know what you're getting into here.
Yeah.
You're going to want to quit 500 times.
Yeah, and I won't let you.
Yeah, I won't let you. If you say yes right now, you're in.
Yeah.
I think Batman once said the line, "You're my second in command. Like, you are my lieutenant. So if you're not on fully page, then we can't work together."
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of scraps happen. But
that's what I say goes.
That could be an issue that comes in later on. So Robin's origin had a connection to Batman in that both witnessed the crime-related deaths of their parents, creating an urge to battle the criminal underworld. So they're very similar in how they were created.
Yeah.
But I find that as humans, they're completely different.
They have different outlooks.
Which is strange.
Yeah.
Because Dick really should have the same outlook as Bruce.
That crime must be stopped at all costs.
He grew up with him. Like, he was taught by him. But in reality, Dick's has a much lighter outlook. Now, that's not to say he won't stop crime. He's the most determined man in comic books.
Yeah.
But he just won't be a dick to people.
Okay, fair.
Like, he's like, I can do this the right way, rather than being just...
I don't need to be distant and unfeeling.
I can do this with friends.
Yeah.
Friends are more important than being by myself and solving all the crimes. So Dick enjoys his first year as Robin.
Yeah. Has a great time.
Has a lovely time, and this is in I think it's Robin Annual 1. I think it's Robin Year 1 or Robin Annual 1. I've read this. I can't remember what it's called. But you see, and he's so happy, and every night they go on patrol, he's just like, he can't shut up, and he's just like, this is the best job ever. Aren't we superheroes?
We're the best.
We're the fucking best. And me and you, Bats, me and you, Bruce, come on, let's go. And Bruce is like really serious, and he's just like, you need to calm down.
You need to shut up.
Crime is bad. And he's like, yeah, but we're unstoppable. Like, we can't be stopped. We're amazing. Like, he's got a kid enthusiasm.
Yeah.
This all falls...
It's a kid in a costume, like, running around.
He's only 10 at this stage. And he's been trained, but he's also just naturally just a kid.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So this all comes to an end in that issue. I think it's Robin Year 1. It might be Robin Year 1 or Robin Annual Year 1. Two-Face captures the new District Attorney and Batman. And he has them each suspended from a hangman's noose in a double gallows death trap. He's all about the doubles.
Two-Face.
Two-Face. He's all about the number 2. Robin then turns up in his real happy, he's like really cocky, he's like, should we always save the day? Don't we always save the day? So nothing could go wrong. So Robin, in trying to save the DA, uses a batter rag to cut the rope of the noose. It worked, of course.
Excellent.
And the DA is saved.
Good.
All happy. But Robin didn't account for Harvey Dent's obsession with the number 2, because it was a twofold trap instead. And even though the rope was snapped, the floor then gave way, dropping the DA into the water, where the man drowned right in front of Robin.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So he killed him.
Robin was unable to prevent his death and received a beating at the hands of Two-Face in the same scene.
Fuck.
Have to remember, Batman is tied up,
Yeah, can't do anything.
watching all of this, as this 10-year-old boy tries to save the DA, kills him, and then gets the shit kicked out of him by Two-Face.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And that's really the turning point for Dick, where he's like, oh, this can go wrong.
I need to take it seriously.
I need to start working.
think.
I need to think, because not every situation can be done by just quips
and the fastest solution.
yeah, like he has to think of it through. So that's like a major part of his growth as a character. You see him change now. He's not like dark like Jason Todd or like serious, but he realizes the gravity of the situation that he's in.
I need to take things serious. I need to be careful.
Yeah, and it haunts him literally every day, basically, of his whole young life.
I suppose he's 10.
He killed the DA, but he saved him, and there's that moment of adulation.
Yeah.
And then the floor falls through and he drowns.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. So rather than see Dick further in danger, Batman fires his partner, not for the first time.
No.
That will happen quite a lot in this report. Sidelining the boy wonder for a time. After a certain while, Dick returns. It's fine. Who cares?
Status quo.
Every single time, Batman's like, "You're fired." And then, like, something happens, and he's like, "Alright, come on back, you scamp.
Back in.
Need you back. I need another lieutenant." Dick continues his adventure with Batman and began attending college. So this is when he starts growing up.
Yeah.
He's Robin for a few years, and then eventually they're like, right, he needs to be like 17.
Yeah.
He's
Needs
been
to age up a bit.
Robin started to take on solo missions as well after he started university, and found himself to be a capable crime fighter in his own right.
Okay, so it's the beginning of him being his own person.
Exactly, and he does it differently. He always, like, when he goes out by himself, the crime isn't solved the same way as Batman. He isn't Batman light.
Yeah.
He solves it his own way. He thinks something else. Whereas Batman would think of, like, this thing. He's like, I'm not going to copy what he would do. He never goes into what would Bruce do.
Yeah. It's like, how am I going to do this?
How am I going to do this? Because I have different skills that I can work. He's not I don't think he's very intellectually gifted, but he's not Bruce Wayne level intellectually gifted.
Yeah.
But he's a better athlete than Bruce.
Right, okay, he's faster.
And also he's better at connecting with people. So he can go undercover and talk to people and find out situations like that.
And he's a nobody. He's not Bruce Wayne.
Exactly. And so nobody really knows who he is.
Yeah.
So shortly afterward, the mysterious Raven summoned Dick Grayson and several other young heroes to form a new group.
Ooh.
Called what are they, Sean?
Teen Titans.
That's good. Teen Titans. Robin again resumed leadership.
Yeah.
And moved out of the shadow of the Batman.
Interesting.
So he becomes leader of the Teen Titans because he's basically just he doesn't even realise it himself, but all those years of Batman
has made him the best
tactician in all situations without him even realising. Because at the time he's just like, Batman will do it, Batman. But watching him for like years,
it just comes natural to him.
Yeah.
Now.
And so when Robin was 17, he was shot in the shoulder by the Joker.
Oh.
And this scared Batman into ending his career for good again.
Oh no, I'm sure it'll stick this time.
This is the end of the report again. Dick realised at that point that he had grown up and that he no longer relied on Batman. And in fact, he and the Dark Knight disagreed on crime-fighting methodology, as Batman used torture, and Dick didn't like it in any way.
Yeah, that's fair.
His newfound independence and Titans duties in New York left less time for his former commitments in Gotham City. He also dropped out of the college after only one semester. So, I think it's the 95 miniseries, I think it is, for Nightwing. I don't know that for sure, but there's a scene where Batman is under attack by Mr. Freeze.
Right.
And he's waiting for Dick to turn up. And Dick's late because he's on Titans duty. And he's flying across. He's on his bike trying to get back across the city to get to Bruce.
Right, okay.
Because Bruce is like pegged under a wall and Freeze is like firing a freeze gun at him. And he's like, I need you here now to do a decoy. And he's like, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Just hold on. And so he finally gets there. They defeat Freeze. But you can clearly tell that, like, he's tired.
He's spread thin.
He's too spread out. That he's doing college and he's doing the Titans.
He's burning the candle at about 15 different ends.
Exactly. And so Bruce says, this is a war. This is where the lieutenant line comes. He's like, this is a war, and you're my second in command.
Yeah.
And if you're not 100% behind me, then you might as well not be behind me at all.
Fuck.
And that's when and that's where they have a massive argument.
They fall out.
And he fires him as Robin, and he says, "You're done. Like,
you're not Robin.
There's no point in you being Robin unless you can put 100% into it."
Right. Okay.
Which classic Batman.
Yeah, classic protector of a young boy.
Yeah. Dick left the Wayne Manor soon after falling out. Helping him through this difficult time, he went straight back to the Titans, involving Starfire.
Because he has relationships with other people.
Because he's friends.
Yeah.
He's friends. He's got lots of friends.
He has somewhere else to go.
Because people like him.
Yeah.
And so he goes back to the Titans, and Starfire is there, obviously, his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned Starfire, but Starfire's a member of the Titans, and Dick is the ladies' man. So she's like this really attractive alien whose outfit is really revealing, and Dick's like, me and you.
Big fan.
Big fan. And she's like, big fan of you. So they get together and they fall in love, but that's not to do with either. I kind of skipped the love stuff. If I got into the amount of this fucking relationship this man has got, we'd be here all fucking day.
Fair
right?
enough.
I'm only going to probably click on him and Barbara Gordon, obviously,
right?
Because they're the obvious ones. Now this is where Nightwing appears, Sean.
The Nightest Wing.
No, he's been fired as Robin.
Yeah, he can't call himself
He's
that.
searching for something to do. This is where Titans, the TV show, kind of jumps in.
Yeah, in that he's separated from Bruce.
But he's not fully Nightwing yet.
Yeah.
So, and he also gives the leadership of the Titans over to Wonder Girl, because he's like, I need to sort out who the fuck I am before I do anything else. So uncertain of what to do, this might surprise you, Sean, but he actually goes to someone he knew would understand, Mr. Superman.
He went to talk to Superman.
Do you know anything about this?
No.
So very briefly, Dick considered giving up as a superhero or as a crime-fighting person, because he was like, well, if I'm not Robin, I have no identity.
Yeah.
And Superman tells him that long ago on Krypton, a man was cast out by his family, just as Dick had been. He dreamed of a world ruled by justice and set out to protect the helpless of Krypton. His true identity was never revealed, but Superman told him that this legend of Krypton, he went by the name of Nightwing. Right?
What?
And so the Nightwing name comes from literally Dick Grayson going to see Superman going, I have no identity, who am I?
Yeah.
Because I can't talk to Bruce, because Bruce is a dick, and me and him are fighting.
Yeah.
And so you're the second best. Because Bruce and Superman are different sides of the coin.
Superman is justice and peace.
And so he goes to see Superman, who he probably grew up with as well. He's probably known for a few years.
Yeah.
And Superman's like, I know you have a good heart. Like, who do you want to be? And he's like, I don't know. I just want to solve crime. I want to be better than Bruce.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, there was a man on Krypton who was cast out of his family, and he was a hero. It's a legend. I don't know if it's true. I think it was true in the past, but then the Crisis on Infinite Earths changed it so that it became a legend.
Right.
And there was a legend that he was cast out by his family and he served over the city and he did his best, and his name was Nightwing. And
so he took it from that.
And Dick Grayson then becomes Nightwing because he loves that name so much.
That's class.
And that's where he got the name Nightwing.
Thanks, Superman.
Thank you, Superman. When all of his teammates were captured by Deathstroke in the Titans,
that'll happen.
Deathstroke is a bit of a dick, and delivered to the Hive, Dick assumed a new identity of Nightwing. This is where he had the big deep V-neck and the tassels.
I love it.
This 80s Nightwing is very fancy. And helped the Freedom with the help of a new ally and future Titan, Jericho. Nightwing had finally moved out of the shadow of the Bat.
He was his own person now.
And he would lead the Titans through some hard times. He would be deeply affected by the fact that Batman traded new Robin, only for him to be seemingly killed at the hands of the Joker.
Beaten to death with a crowbar.
That would hinder you slightly.
So in a way, Dick won.
In the Battle of the Death, actually Jason won.
Jason, of course he did, because he came back.
He won the race to death.
He won the race to death. But in the race of staying alive,
Dick won. Yeah, Dick won that one.
Indeed.
Yeah. Shortly after this, during Batman Year 3, Dick learned that Mr. Tony Zuko, the man who killed his parents, that Bruce had said died,
was alive
years and years back.
Fuck.
Was of course still alive.
Oh no.
He was in fact actually just in a coma, and he had been in jail for the last 10 years.
Coma jail.
But you know who didn't tell Dick any of this?
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce motherfucking Wayne.
Bruce motherfucking Wayne. Batman feared that Dick would want the gangster dead, so he protected him. Protected as in quotation marks. Protected the boy by telling him that Zuko was dead. So after nearly spending 7 years in prison with good behaviour, Zuko applied for parole in exchange for becoming an informant.
Oh,
to the
so
police.
he'll go back out to the mob and be like, I'm back, boys.
Yeah, exactly. So just as Dick arrived to see him step out of prison, he was gunned down by an enemy mobster.
Oh.
Tony Zuko.
And Dick is
I think that's where they get the bit in Batman Begins. You know when he turns up to the courtroom to kill Joe Chill? And somebody else shoots him. I think that's inspired by that.
That's pretty cool.
Because Dick turns up to the jail to be
ready to do it.
Ready to fight him.
Yeah.
And just like, you killed my parents.
You ruined my life.
And this mobster shoots him. And I think that's very cool.
It's very similar to what happens.
Yeah,
you're right.
So despite catching the assassin and getting some closure to his parents, so he catches the assassin afterwards.
Yeah.
Dick was upset with Bruce for lying to him and keeping him away from the truth.
Fair.
Bruce explained that this was not his intent.
I just did it. I didn't mean
because Bruce
for you
just
to find
doesn't
out.
care.
No, he doesn't.
So you can see why they fight.
Yeah.
Because Bruce just he's so emotionally stunted that he cannot figure out other people.
Bruce just has decided that he knows everything and he doesn't need to ask anyone's permission or tell anyone anything.
Even if it's about his life.
Yeah.
Like it's Nightwing's life and it's Nightwing's parents' killer.
Yeah, he should at least know what the story is.
So feeling hurt and betrayed, Bruce and Dick would remain odds at each other. Never fully sorting out their strained relationship. Really, they're now grand, but for years
there'd be no trust.
There was no trust at all. So while serving with the New Titans, Dick was searched out by an older Tim Drake. This is before Tim became Robin. He said that Dick needed to return as Robin because Batman was going off the deep end after one Jason Todd and the crowbar.
Of course.
So Tim turns up and he's like, you need to be Robin again. He's got off the deep end. He needs a light.
Yeah.
He needs someone to guide him. And Dick's like, that's not me, man. We're literally not even talking. We hate each other.
I haven't spoken to him in years.
There's a lot of water under that bridge.
Yeah.
And I think you're going up the wrong tree. If I went back, we would just fight.
Yeah.
There's no point.
I would not help.
And in that case, Dick does return to Batman. Mm-hmm. He pleads Tim's case.
Yeah.
As he's suitable as the new Robin.
He can follow this.
He does go back to Batman, but he's like, this kid clearly cares, and I know you're afraid after Jason Todd, but that guy, he can do some good.
Yeah, he can help.
And this actually means that Tim Drake does become the third Robin, and because Dick vouches for him, Alfred vouches for him, and Bruce finally lets up, and he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But Tim Drake and Dick Grayson have they're tight brothers. Like, they are best friends.
Yeah, they actually like each other.
They're probably the two most that's why Dick Grayson is my number one, Tim Drake is my number two in comic books.
They get along.
If any scene they're together, they're just roasting each other, but in a friendly way. It's not really
banter.
mean. It's banter, as you will, you dickhead. Clever.
You prick.
So meanwhile, in Gotham, Bruce Wayne was nearly killed by a certain villain named Bane.
Of course,
Sean.
got his back broke.
I'm going through the whole 90s comic books here. But, what can you do? But so see, all this is happening in Batman, and I'm looking at it from Nightwing's perspective.
Yeah.
So Batman gets crippled, and unwilling to force Dick to come back, and believing that Dick deserved to be his own man. That's why Batman gave the Batman suit to Jean-Paul Azrael, instead of him.
Oh, okay.
Because he's clearly more qualified.
Yeah, but he was like, no, he's Nightwing. He doesn't need to be Batman.
And they're already very uneven ground.
Yeah.
That even if Bruce has a broken spine, he'll still say no.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one bit where Bruce kind of comes across okay, where he's like, he needs to be his own man.
Yeah.
He can't just be in my shadow all the time.
Yeah, I can't have him thinking he's the backup me.
Yeah. And then Azrael, of course, goes crazy as Batman, and he starts fighting Tim, and like Tim's his Robin.
Yeah.
Still, and he's only just brand new or like just newish. So this guy goes crazy. Dick has to then return to help
Sort out the mess.
And Dick, I think it's Dick, Catwoman, Tim Drake all join together to fight him.
Right.
And they'll take him down. They'll be like, you're no longer Batman, fucking you're a crazy person, you're a psychopath. I'll get into Azrael, he's really interested as well.
Okay.
He takes over as Batman for a little bit, then goes fucking mental. But that's fine. When Dick returned to the Titans, he found her to be changed after this. So he comes back. Batman, of course, then his spine heals because it's comic books.
Of course.
It was like half a year.
Just stands up.
And he was fine. He just needed to will it to happen. He found her to be changes. The government had placed Arsenal in charge, and this meant that Dick was no longer in charge, and Dick kind of felt, I don't really need to be here.
Yeah.
If you're the leader, because he's like, okay, Arsenal, you can take that. So he kind of leaves. He leaves the Titans, and he moves off. He moves to Bloodhaven. Now, Bloodhaven, do you know anything about Bloodhaven?
Not a whole lot.
Bloodhaven is Nightwing's city.
Oh,
So,
okay. He looks after it.
Nightwing doesn't look after Gotham.
He looks after Bloodhaven.
Bloodhaven in the comic books is where all the Gotham's worst people go to.
Okay.
So they created Gotham, which is meant to be this crime-infested city.
Yeah.
Bloodhaven is like 100 miles or like 50 miles down the road.
And
that's meant to be even more crime-infested.
Jesus.
And so Dick has a whole story where he's like, I don't need to be in Gotham because you have Batman, you've got Robin, you've got Catwoman.
Everyone.
You've got everyone. I'll be my own man, give him my own city. So he literally moves to Bloodhaven by himself. And I think there's in the Nightwing series of the 90s and 2000s, there's like 500 of this. I've read them all. But not to rag on them, but he turned into a policeman for a long while.
Okay.
He goes
cool.
undercover as a policeman because he's joined the city and he's like, what's the best way to find crimes?
Be a cop.
You're on the radio and you hear a crime and you just change into a Nightwing and you just go there.
Nice one.
And so he's in Bloodhaven for many, many years. And I'm skipping like 20 years here. There's many stories in between, but I felt like I could do this fucking forever.
A bunch of shit happens.
A bunch of shit happens, right? I'm going to get to Batman R.I.P. and the Battle for the Cowl.
Okay.
We've talked Battle for the Cowl a little bit in the Tim Drake one.
We have.
Batman R.I.P. is when Batman dies.
Oh.
This is in 2008. So I'm going up to the new 52 as we did to do. This is in 2008. Batman dies and he's killed by the Black Glove or the Black Hand. Something with a hand. I think it's Glove.
Glove.
I think it's Glove. Black Glove. They're an organisation. They finally kill Batman
Right.
and he's dead. Like confirmed
dead, actually
Proper
dead.
confirmed dead.
Okay.
Well, it's comic books.
Yeah.
Turns out he went back in time, but let's not get into that. He's basically dead. And the Battle of the Cowl is the very first comic book series I ever read, actually, because I watched the animated series and then I watched, and I was like, I need to more Batman stuff. And then I was like, if only there was some sort of medium that had hundreds of years of Batman stuff. And then I went, oh yeah. And then the perfect story was the one that started with Nightwing and Tim Drake were the lead characters.
That's cool.
Battle for the Cowl is that you've Tim Drake, you've Dick Grayson, who Dick Grayson does not want to be Batman.
No.
So Batman's dead, and everyone's like, you're the obvious next in command. And he's like, I'm Nightwing, I don't want to be Batman. I'm Nightwing, I don't want to be Batman. So the more he says no, Tim Drake is like, you gotta take it, because I can't do it.
I'm just Robin.
And Damian Wayne is here, and he's only fucking 10, and he can't take it, so you're the last one here. And then suddenly a Batman starts appearing around Gotham, and he's using guns. And he's going around in full Batman costume, shooting people, ruining the Batman's image. It's Jason Todd. Because he has a bit of a vendetta against Batman as well.
He does.
So he comes back, and then that's the only thing that kicks Dick Grayson into action. He's like, well, he's going to ruin
it for everyone.
So I have to be Batman. So that comic book ends with them on a train, a speeding train, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, and they're having a fucking fight for like ages, and there's like it's a serious fight scene, and then it ends up, I think Dick kicks him off a moving train.
Well, that'll do it.
That would do it, then he wins.
Okay, good.
I think that's the winning strike.
So now he's Batman.
Then he's Batman. And this is my favourite run of comic books ever. This is just last thing, and then we'll get the powers and abilities.
Grand.
This is the last before the new 52. Dick, so this is about Nightwing, But there is a run that is very special to me, and that is Batman and Robin from 2009, Grant Morrison's run.
Right.
Dick Grayson is Batman, and Damian Wayne is Robin. And why is that? Because Tim Drake is Robin at the time, and Dick takes over as Batman, and he turns around to Tim and he's like, "You're not Robin anymore." And Tim's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because you're like my partner.
You're my equal.
You're my equal in this scenario because we've been together for like 20 years.
Yeah.
You're not like boy wonder.
No.
You're equal. I need someone who's Robin needs to somebody who can grow. But you're already like the finished article.
Yeah.
You don't need to be Robin anymore. You're my own." And he's like completely different to Batman. He's like, "You're your own person. Go out there and fucking strike the world."
Yeah, like, I believe in you.
I believe in you. Rather than Bruce is like, "You just stick beside me at all times because I'm the only thing that makes
You do what I say.
Yeah. And so Tim is like completely lost. He becomes Raid Robin after that.
Yeah.
Damian Wayne becomes Robin in this scenario. And why this is so fascinating, this is like, it's 23 issues I think it is. And it's really, really dark. Professor Pig is in it. He starts sewing pig mask onto children's faces.
Oh, Lord.
And it's really gruesome. A lot of bloody murders.
That's Grant Morrison.
Definitely not kid-friendly in any way. But the two of them as a dynamic duo is my favourite Batman and Robin. I like Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne more than I like Batman and Dick Grayson as Batman and Robin.
Right,
as a dynamic.
Yeah, because they're completely different.
Opposites.
Yeah.
Damian Wayne is so serious, and Dick Grayson is Batman, and he's the Joker. So
Right.
he's the one quipping, and
Damian is brooding in
Damian Wayne is
darkness.
constant brooding, and he's Robin at all times.
That's pretty good.
And so it's completely switched, and Dick is the only one that can talk to Damian. Damian won't listen to anybody else, but Dick doesn't take any of his shit, and he just, every time
Damian respects him for it.
Damian kind of loves him for that. He's the only one that Dick's the only one that will listen to Damian and then go, "You're being really, really dumb. Stop being silly."
But he'll listen to him.
Yeah, he'll listen because Dick gets along with everyone.
Yeah.
And he'll listen to you, and he's like, and he's like, "Damian, come on." Dick's the one who vouches to the Titans for Damian. He's like, "I know he's hard. I know he's hard work, but he's good. He's good under all that." And they're like, "Only for you, Dick, he would not join this team."
Just because of who you are.
Just because you were leader for like 50 years of this fucking team is the only reason that kid, who's really fucking annoying, is in this team.
Yeah.
And Damien, of course, walks in feet on the table. He's like, "This is fucking too below me," right? So they're Batman and Robin. I could not recommend it enough, that run. It's really fucked up. And you see Damien start at like, he's the cockiest fucker ever.
Yeah.
And he hates Dick. At the start, he's like, "You're just like a fucking...
You're not my dad.
You're Batman Light. Yeah, you're not my dad," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, like, he respects Dick so much. And the two of them... I think there's a scene where, in the New 52, just before Damien dies... Well, he comes back to life, but comic books. Just before he dies, they have like a real heart-to-heart. And Damien's like, "You're the only one I like. And the whole family." So, it's pretty nice. So, as I said, Dick has a way with people that he's just...
He's good with people.
He's a good leader, but he leads by like getting your respect rather than fear.
Yeah, you'll follow him because you like him rather than...
Exactly. So in terms of powers and abilities, we're nearly finished, Sean, don't worry. Powers and abilities, we have peak human conditioning.
Of course. So he's like an Olympic athlete.
He's the best athlete in the DC comics other than Catwoman. Probably Catwoman's the only one that can put it up to him.
But in terms of strength, he would be stronger and more agile.
Peak human strength, he's as strong as a human that size can be.
Yeah.
But yeah, peak human conditioning, he's all speed and stamina. Like his Nightwing suit, which is fucking... It's the black suit with the two blue lines.
The blue trim on it.
The blue trim on it. Over the two shoulders. So you have that, and then you have... he's after taking all the weight out of it, so it's all for agility.
Yeah.
So he's less protected, but he's all about speed.
He's faster and he can avoid everything.
Yeah, that's the idea. He's got peak human speed, peak human agility, peak human reflexes, peak human stamina, just all the...
He's a peak human.
He's a peak human. He's a master acrobat, because
he was a child
trained
actor.
by Batman since he was very young.
Yeah, and he was in the circus.
The circus, yes. He's an indomitable will.
Okay,
Right?
so if he sets his mind to something.
Like his mentor, Grayson has a very strong will. He's able to resist Scarecrow's potent fear toxins, resist and overcome mind control from Brother Blood, and was even a candidate to succeed the Green Lantern at one stage because his will was so strong.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't that good?
That's class.
Yeah, that he was so strong that he could have been Green Lantern.
Dude. And
Yeah.
well, the green one, the gone with the suit.
I think it was Hal Jordan, that there was between Hal Jordan and Dick Grayson to be that Green Lantern.
Yeah, whoever the ring chose.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
Intimidation. He's skilled enough to get Scarecrow, who only fears Batman, to talk. And during his time as Batman, was able to contain a riot in Arkham Asylum at one stage.
Jesus.
He's got genius level intellect, master of stealth, expert marksman, weapon proficiency, escape artist. You know, like just all the stuff. He's an expert hacker. He's basically Batman.
Yeah. He's Batman, but nice.
Batman, but nice. He's an expert leader as well, which is one of his main traits.
Yeah.
That's why he's led the Teen Titans for so many years.
Batman's not a super good leader.
Terrible leader.
Terrible man.
He's good as himself.
Yeah.
But if it's a group, he's normally like, I'll just make my own plan and not tell any of you.
Yeah.
And we'll just get to the same goal. So in terms of equipment, he's got the Nightwing suit, which I've already mentioned, has less armour to leave himself more agility. Nightwing mask. All of his stuff has gauntlets and his boots and his gauntlets all have equipment in it.
Okay.
He doesn't have a belt.
Right, so they'd be the bulkiest things, so he just may as well put everything into them.
All of his equipment is in the boots or in his gloves.
Cool.
Which is where he keeps everything. He also calls his batarangs wingdings.
Nice.
Which is just nice. Transportation, I normally associate him with the wing cycle.
The motorbike.
The motor vroom vroom. The motor vroom vroom.
The very same.
He's also got the sticks. What are they called?
Size?
No, not size. Eskrima sticks, I think they're called.
Okay.
They can be shocky ones as well, but normally he's just got two little ones, and he's like unreal.
And he's super quick with them.
He's super quick, and he beat the shit out of you.
You're dead before you see him.
Maybe not dead. In his Batman suit, Grayson's bat suit featured a lighter cape to accommodate his more acrobatic fighting style, and a utility belt with a bat-shaped buckle. He also developed paracapes for his and Damien's costumes, which gives them the ability to glide, which Batman didn't have.
Yeah, I love a glidey Batman.
Grayson is noticeably also shorter than Bruce Wayne, because I think he's 6'2" in the comics.
Yeah.
I think Nightwing is 6 foot. So Jim Gordon immediately notices why Batman is 2 inches shorter. His birthday is November 11th. This is just my trivia.
It's nearly his birthday.
Grayson took the name Nightwing after being inspired by Nightwing and Flamebird, which were heroes on Superman's home planet.
Cool.
Also note, Beth Kane, the original Batgirl, has since been brought back into continuity and is now operating as a vigilante under the name Flamebird.
Oh, very good.
Grayson has been engaged twice.
To Starfire and Barbara Gordon.
Both times. Starfire's wedding was ruined by a supervillain in the Teen Titans.
Cool.
But the wedding to Barbara Gordon, he proposed to her, and she still has the ring in her possession.
Oh.
And he says, you keep it because I'll probably ask again at some point, so you just keep that in. So she always has the ring on, just around, in case he needs to propose again, because the two of them are always on and off.
Right, but the job keeps them.
But I mean, they should be on, really, because like, I'm a big stan for the two of them, you know what I mean?
I do.
He still cares greatly about her. He's also told Starfire he's not interested in her anymore, but I think he's more Batgirl now, or Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
But I mean, he also, by his own admission, he also has a weakness for redheads. So if you see any redhead in any comic book, he's probably had sex with them.
Right, fair enough.
He has also had a one-night stand with Huntress. I'm telling you, we could do a full list. A full list. If you've read any of his like annuals, it's always just like, if there's a female and him in the same panel, you're like, yeah, they're probably going to have sex.
Happy Christmas, lads.
Dick's parents left him a trust fund that Bruce Wayne's partner Lucius Fox later turned into a small fortune.
Nice.
So anytime he spends something, it's from his wealth. He never spends anything from Bruce, because they were so estranged for so many years.
Yeah, he couldn't manage.
He's like, I don't care. I don't want any of your money, Bruce.
Yeah,
I'm my own man.
Nice
and so
one.
that's why he got a job and he just started paying for his own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the end of my report on Nightwing.
Dude.
Did I do enough?
You did, I think.
I don't know if I did enough.
He's really cool.
I could do a lot more. As part 2.
Episode 100 you can just talk about.
Part 2.
We'll do 3 shows a week on Nightwing.
Is he cool?
He's very cool.
Oh,
He's an
boys.
absolute hero.
Oh, man.
He sounds more interesting to me than Batman is.
That is definitely true. But I'm completely biased as well. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that people like Batman, but if they just read up on Nightwing, they're like, oh, this is cooler Batman.
He's a Batman you could actually hang out with.
Yes, exactly. He's quippy. He's real nice, and this way they don't get along in any way.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, he's also got the same like willpower. Like if he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it properly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah, oh boys, I'm tired.
It's okay. I'll take it from here,
Oh,
Conor.
lads.
Thank you everyone very much for listening to this very special 50-second episode of Hero or Zero.
I did it.
Everyone
I told you I'd do it.
Everyone tweet Conor and tell him what a good job he did. We're on Twitter at Heroes for Hire Pod, the 4 is the number 4, Facebook Heroes for Hire Podcast, Instagram Heroes for Hire Podcast, and you can email us heroesforhire_@outlook.com. Thanks to everyone who supports us on Patreon. If you want to fly over there and support us, you can. It's in the link in the description, or it's patreon.com/Heroes for Hire Podcast. But the best way you can support the podcast is by telling one human being that we exist.
Amazing.
And tell one human being about Nightwing.
Please, a Nightwing. I love Nightwing. And read all the things I just mentioned. I can't remember what I mentioned.
Yeah, but look, you can rewind
Read
it.
them. I can't rewind right now. It's real life.
I've been Sean Mean.
I've been Conor Lawler.
Thanks very much,
I'll
guys.
see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.